Avasti, matey. I be the dreaded Captain Leyzar, and today I'm a bit teaching you how to build your Zarr. But if you be a seasoned sailor of the high seas, quit your belly aching and watch the video.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that because it was absolute murder on my voice and we're not gonna talk like a pirate again. Anyway, let's check out how the weapon handles without any mods equipped. So the Zarr has two fire modes. The main fire mode and what it's known for the most is this cannonball mode. Essentially this is a ship's cannon and you will see that the cannonball has travel time as well as a very heavy drop time. And if you try like at really long ranges, you will see that it kinda falls to the left side a little bit. You see, I'm still catching the side of that wall over there. Now each cannonball that you fire will split off into 6 little bomblets, and that is what the wiki calls them. Keep in mind that the status chance will get divided amongst them. Even though the wiki offers kind of contradictory information, all these little bomblets will have their status chance divided amongst them. So that's it for the primary fire. What about the secondary fire? Now this one is a shotgun fire pretty much. As you can see, the spread is pretty horrendous, so you're gonna need to be really close to your target in order to hit them. Now the problem with this second fire mode is that it has 10 meters worth of range. That's it, 10 meters. But you also get 1.6 meters worth of punch through. And of course the status chance rules of pellet-based shotguns will apply to the Zarr. Now let's jump into stats and see precisely what we're dealing with. First of all, mod capacity 60 out of 60, and if your Zarr only has 30 out of 30, then jump into actions and plug in the Orokin catalyst, which can be obtained from alerts, invasions, or if you're lucky, from the daily sortie. No access to the sortie just yet, then progress further through the story and you will. Next, you will notice that my weapon has been formatted a total of 6 times, but this was done mostly for the purpose of testing. The Zarr by default does come with 1V or motorized symbol. Free 4 forma should do it. Accuracy for the cannon mode is 100. Now the accuracy is pretty good as you saw there, but you have to contain the travel time and the drop off, so it will take you a little bit of getting used to if you want to get the headshot damage of the cannonballs. And yes, it is worth it. Once again, the cannonballs explode upon impact. One more thing about the bomblets, the wiki says it hones in on enemies, but that doesn't actually happen. They go all over the place, and by all intents and purposes, unless you are hitting the middle of a group, they are really unreliable. Crit chance and crit multi, 17%, which is low for the chance, but the multi is actually quite good at 2.5. We're gonna make use of that in a build just a tad later. Fire rate 1.67, but as you saw there, your magazine capacity is only 3, and it reloads shot by shot, pretty much like the stern would reload. Though keep in mind, if you guys increase the magazine capacity, your reload time actually increases as well, because once again, you got shot by shot. He simply porks in the cannonballs into the cannon. No, it's alarming of, well, it's a cannon. Reload of 2.3, but this is total reload. You take 0.5 per each cannonball. Reven disposition is 3 out of 5, which means that the Revens will be quite decent for this one, and a status chance of 29% just to taunt us, god damn it, because if it was 30% we would get 100% with just the 60-60 mods alone. Just keep in mind that even though that the alternative fire of the Zarr acts like a shotgun, we can slap on rifle mods. Now the primary cannon mode will deal damage, blast and impact, and probably this is the biggest downside to the primary fire mode. Blast is not ideal definitely, and neither is impact. Just keep in mind that this impact refers to the cannonball hitting the target, and the blast of course is the explosion. When it comes to the barrage, as you saw there, the accuracy is basically non-existent. You want to see a cool trick? Check out this. When it comes to heavy caliber on the Zarr, it doesn't really affect the cannonball all too much. By all intents and purposes, even with multi-shot on, I didn't see the cannonballs act any different than they normally would. And when it comes to the barrage, to be honest, when it's this bad, it doesn't even matter anymore. So I'm gonna be calling heavy caliber mandatory for the Zarr. Crit chance the same, crit multi the same, fire rate is a bit higher, so you're gonna be able to pork out shots a tad faster, but again you have that reload to deal with, and the punch through I mentioned earlier. Just keep in mind that the maximum range is 10 meters, and it does get affected by projectile flight speed, so if you want to increase the range, by all means do so. Just keep in mind the spread is absolutely bullshit. Anyway, the damage on Barrage is impact, puncture, and slash, IPS, and that is a lot of damage. Take a look at that, that is 800. Just keep in mind that this is total damage, the total damage of the 10 default pellets you fire. Each pellet will deal 80 damage. Again, the Zarr has 10 pellets. And that's enough of that. Let's start slapping on some mods with Serration mandatory 165% extra damage, and then we're going to heavy caliber with another 165. In all honesty, it's not even the multi-shot gets affected by the cannon fire, so go for heavy caliber 100%. Next, multi-shot, the best thing on everything, split chamber mandatory, and we're also going to be slapping on vigilante armaments with another 60%. The set bonus in our case isn't really going to do much good, but we're putting this one on simply for the multi-shot alone. Now, how does multi-shot work in the case of the Zarr? It simply increases either the amount of pellets in Barrage, so therefore status chance gets divided even further, or in cannon mode, it increases the number of initial cannonballs. It does not increase the number of the little bomblets. Each cannonball will spawn 6 bomblets, and that's it, regardless of how much multi-shot you slap on the weapon. Next, let's go into crit chance and crit damage. What we're gonna do initially, because the weapon is essentially basically 2 into 1, we're gonna make a general build, and then we're gonna branch out into specific builds for both cannon and barrage mode. Crit chance with point strike 150%, 42.5 crit chance. That's actually not bad thanks to point strike, and crit damage of course is going to be Vital Sense with 120%. Again, that multi is quite good. We gotta kind of do everything we can to get the most out of the multi. Unfortunately, we're tied into the low base crit chance. Very well, as for the last 2 mod slots, we're gonna go into elementals, and keep in mind that elemental damage should always be slapped on a weapon depending on where you're going and who you're fighting. For example, let's say you guys are up against the Corpus, the guys with big shields, where against them you can build magnetic, which will deal extra damage to their shields. Alternatively though, you can simply build gas, which will bypass their shields entirely and deal damage to their health. If you're up against the infested, well then building fire usually is more than enough. You have blast damage, this is an AoE weapon, so you shouldn't really have much of an issue with the infested, in general that is. Now the Grineer are a different story. These are heavily armored targets. They have 2 armor types. They have ferrite armor, which is weak to corrosive damage, and they have alloy armor, which is weak to radiation damage. And definitely pick your choose and elementals depending on where exactly are you going. Let's take the example of the Grineer, the toughest targets in Warframe, so we're going to build Corrosive. More often than not, Corrosive is your best bet, which is the combination between electricity and toxin. Now you have a choice, the same old choice. Should I go for the 90 mods or for the 60-60 mods? There is a general rule in Warframe which doesn't apply to each and every case, but if you're going level 100 and under, then the 90 mods is the way to go. Simply because you don't need that status chance. They don't have that much health, that much armor, you're simply gonna blow them away. But if you're going level 100 and over, then the 60-60 mods is what you want. You want those additional applications of the status chance, in our case of Corrosive. High voltage, this one can be farmed from the mission Elgar on the planet Eris. You guys will have to find all the caches, all the free secret caches, then upon extraction you have a massive chance of 5% of getting this one. Alternatively, you can hit up the trade chat. This one currently on PC goes for about 40 to 50 plat, so keep that one in mind. Got my electricity, so let's go into Toxin with Malignant Force, which is a lot more accessible. This one only 10 to 15 plat from the trade chat, something like that. And this will be our initial setup, so let's test it and see precisely what it can do. I got a little bit of corrosive here, 2580, and when it comes to the barrage, you will have 10,320. Just keep in mind this is all the 10 pellets combined, 10 by default, but actually now because of all the multi-shot we slapped on, we're gonna be dealing a lot more than that. Alright, we're gonna go to these guys and we're gonna test out both fire modes just so we can get like a good feeling of what the Zarr is capable of doing with a standard non-focused build. So let's try some bomblets. As you'll see, plenty of status chance. Now I choose to hit them from up here because I'm trying to get some damage out of the damn bomblets, but as you can see, they jump into weird directions. Of these little guys will be a bit more reliable, then the Zarr would be a lot more powerful when it comes to its primary fire. Now, this is not me saying that the Zarr is not powerful, definitely not, but you need to specialize your build into one of the 2 fire modes. Now, throughout all the builds I tested for the Zarr, unfortunately the cannon mode is only really good for AoE lower level. And when I say lower level, I'm talking about 60 something along those lines. When it comes to higher level enemies, if you really want to take them out quick and efficiently, you're gonna have to build your Zarr for the Barrage fire mode, aka this one. So let's do that next. We're gonna go into a crit build, but again, this is the build if you're just starting out with a weapon, you don't have any fancy mods and blah blah blah. This is the way, a way you can go for the Zarr. It's not terribly efficient, but it's going to be good enough. Now, one quick note about two fantastically fun mods that you can slap on your Zarr. First of all, Adhesive Blast, 100% chance for grenades to stick to surfaces, and of course surfaces can mean walls, doors, enemies, or if you're irradiated, even teammates, and trust me, that is a whole lot of fun. Second one will be Firestorm with 24% plus blast radius, which means bigger explosions, therefore more damage, a larger AoE pretty much. And I'm gonna quickly show you guys how these two work. First of all, Adhesive Blast. So once again, you can stick your cannonballs to walls, but you will have to wait on the explosion, so pick and choose your times. Alternatively, you can simply go to an enemy and stick free on them and wait once again for the explosion. They will no longer detonate on impact, so there is that to take into account. And when it comes to Firestorm, of course, bigger explosions, and that's pretty much it. Larger area covered by your AoE. Now keep in mind that I recommend these for a little bit of fun, not necessarily for the most quote-unquote efficient way of building the Zarr. We're gonna go into a crit build next. This one once again has Serration, Heavy Caliber, Split Chamber, Point Strike, and Vital Sense. And you will see, god damn it, you are not supposed to be here. We have Hunter Munitions with a 42.5% crit chance. You gotta be out of your mind. But what makes this build work is an Arcane, and I'm sorry, it's expensive. It's about 200 plat currently on the trade chat, or you can just farm it from the third Eidolon. It's called Arcane Avenger. On damage, 14% chance for 30% critical chance for 8 seconds, and the usual 1 Arcane Revive. Now you need to understand the beauty of this Arcane. This doesn't simply add 30% to my existing chance, it's an additive after bonus, meaning that whatever I do, I'm gonna be getting that 30% critical chance over. For example, if you guys have a weapon that has 0% crit chance and you get the buff from Arcane Avenger, then your weapon will have that 30% crit chance guaranteed. So it's an additive after bonus. When you're building a weapon for slash, you can go one of two ways. You can further amplify the amounts of slashes you're gonna get, and you're gonna do that with more crit chance, something like Argon Scope or perhaps a Reven. And you can also increase the critical damage or the damage of the weapon to get bigger slashes, okay, higher slash value. Initially, let's go for what most people like, which is a viral setup, which is the combination between cold and toxin. Now, Cryo Rounds is the 90% version of cold, and 60/60 mod is gonna be Rime Rounds. Now again, this is a build for the Barrage mode. If you're going for the 90 mods, which we will initially just simply to showcase how it works, you're gonna see that you're simply not going to get a whole lot of status procs out of the viral. Then again, you don't need a lot when you're building viral. This is not a corrosive build. When you're building corrosive, multiple applications of the corrosive effect will lower the enemy's armor, which is great. But when you're talking viral, the application simply reduces the maximum health of an enemy to 50%. You're not gonna need additional applications. For all intents and purposes, you just need 1-2 good ones, because it will not decrease the maximum health further than 50%. There we go, we got viral with the 90 mods, Cryo Rounds, and Infected Clip, and we're gonna test it to see precisely what it can do. But in order for me to get the benefit from Arcane Avenger, I'm gonna have to unpause these targets so they can hit me and I can get my benefit. Switching to Barrage mode, hit me please. Proc, goddamn you, there we go, we got a proc. See 3 hits on the target and look at the bleeds, slowly and surely bleeding out. What you don't see is a viral proc, simply because this is a shotgun, I'm firing a lot of pellets, and that status chance, although it may seem high, is getting divided among my pellets. There's a viral proc, by the way. And there he goes. 3 shots on the target, plenty of bleeds as you can see, but still no viral. Keep in mind that unless you have a 100% status chance before multi-shot effects on shotguns, your status chance simply gets divided among your pellets. Now what I can do with a build such as this is swap out the 90 mods for the 60/60 mods and pray to God that I will be getting more applications of the viral effect. Is it worth? Yes, definitely, you can go for something like that, but there we go. There's a viral proc, and as you can see now, the Zarr is a whole lot more effective. Want to try cannonballs? Here we go, cannonballs, woo! Here have 2 more cannonballs. There we go. You see, it's simply not catered for this fire mode. What you want to do is get in close and personal and blow the hell out of them, like so. That is a whole lot more potent and efficient. But back to our slash build. This is not the best version of it, and again, you can go for the 60/60 mods instead of the 90 mods. That will get you slightly better applications of the viral, and I do say slightly because again, the status chance is getting divided. But more on that a tad later. Now I'm gonna show you the beast build, the build that I found gave the best results on the Zarr for Barrage. Again, we're gonna disequip Cryo Rounds and Infected Clip, and what we're gonna do is go for more crit chance and you're gonna need Argon Scope for this one. I apologize, I don't like recommending expensive mods in my builds, but if you want to get the most out of this build, then you're gonna need Argon Scope with its critical chance. Now when I get the buff from Argon Scope together with Arcane Avenger, my crit chance will go to 95%, and I do have a quite nice multi at 5.5. I got my extra crit chance. Now let's amplify the slash values, and for that I'm gonna be using more crit damage through bladed rounds. On kill effect, 120% crit damage while aiming for 9 seconds. This one from the trade chat is 10 to 15 plat. Only Argon Scope is bloody expensive. Now let's test out the slash build like this. Same rules as before. And we're gonna go into barrage mode. We're gonna have to get a kill, unfortunately, so we can get that buff from bladed rounds. That is the problem with on-kill effects. There we go, I got an on-kill effect. Now let's see what I can do to these guys. 1, 2, 3. Look at the bleeds, look at the amounts, absolutely bloody glorious. He blew up like that simply because of the huge bleeds he's getting applied to him. There's no more viral, I don't have to hope for viral anymore, but this is a whole lot more effective, and that is a lot of damage on the targets. This is the build I'm gonna be recommending you if you simply want like the highest amount of damage. Don't have Argon Scope because it's expensive and etc. I totally understand that. Swap out Argon Scope together with bladed rounds and pop in the 60, 60 or the 90 mods to make viral damage. That's what I would recommend to you guys. But again, in terms of DPS, look at this. Look at those slashes. Absolutely bloody hilarious. Now, we talked about a slash build through Hunter Munitions, we talked about a default build, and again, I'm gonna be mentioning that the cannon mode is more for lower level content. You can build the weapon however you like. When it comes to hitting level 100 plus, it simply doesn't perform all that great, but it does have high AoE capabilities. Now we're gonna be switching into a 100% true status chance build through the use of the 460-60 mods, Rime rounds, Malignant Force, High Voltage, and Thermite rounds. And we're also gonna be slapping in Hammer Shot because the base status chance is 29% once again, so the 460-60 mods will simply not be enough. Now keep in mind that this is with no multi-shot. If I remove Hammer Shot from this one, it goes to 98.6, and if I slap on multi-shot, you will see it goes to 100, but this will trick you. Multi-shot will often trick you. You need a 100% status chance on pellet-based weapons before multi-shot effects. So once again, we're gonna be slapping in Hammer Shot. Of course, ideally you would have a Reven with plus percentage base status chance, but there you go. As for the last one, you can go in this one for whatever you like. Let's say something like heavy caliber, extra damage, always good. You can go for more multi-shot with vigilante armaments, but again, I do think that heavy caliber is more than worth it on the Zarr. Now I have a true 100% status chance, so my status chance no longer gets divided among my pellets. All my little pellets will be applying status, but what status is that? Well, for that, I need to explain a couple of things to you guys. First of all, the IPS or the physical types, Impact, Puncture, and Slash, have a 4 times greater chance of proccing over elementals, stuff like Radiation and Viral. So when you're looking at the Puncture, don't look at it as 3.2k, think of it as 12.8k, something along those lines. So the Impact is actually, well, about 7.6k, something along those lines. So by all intents and purposes, my Puncture will be proccing over Viral and Radiation. Now a build such as this focuses again on Slash. Unfortunately, my Slash is only 1.3k. It's very low. It's lower than the Impact, than the Viral, Radiation, and everything else. Now what you can do is pump up the Slash with something like Fanged Fusillade. Why not? But even with Fanged Fusillade, as you can see, it's still lower than the Puncture, so the Puncture will have priority. For the sake of presentation, because I know some of you guys want to build this weapon like a Tigris Prime, we're gonna go like this with a Viral Radiation combo. So let's see what it can do. Once again, the same targets as before, and switch to Barrage mode. Proc, 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 waiting for the proc. There we go, Arcane Avenger. Let's do 3 shots in this guy's head. 1, 2, and a 3. I got my applications on the target. As you can see, very little slash because of the amount of slash on the weapon. Now what you can get is a very specific Reven to make this thing happen. Now something like plus slash, minus impact, and the extra status chance would be fantastic if you want to build a weapon such as this. This is 100% true status chance, and as you can see is nowhere near as effective as the Hunter Munitions build. And this one has Arcane Avenger as well, so I didn't cheat with removing that one. It's still on and I'm still getting that extra crit chance. Not worth it, okay? Simply not worth. I recommend the Hunter Munitions build I showcased earlier. Whether you choose to build it with Argon Scope and bladed rounds or with the elemental mods is really up to you. Now the flip side to any true 100% status chance build is the fact that you don't have to go for slashes in Viral if the weapon is not so inclined. You can simply build Corrosive and go for armor stripping. So Malignant Force plus high voltage will get me Corrosive, and I'm also using Infected Clip. Now the reason why I'm using a 90 mod is so that I can pump up my Corrosive value so it is #1 on the proc chance. For example, if I was to use heavy caliber, you will see that the blast will be competing with the corrosive for procs. Also, keeping in mind how IPS works, the puncture will be #1 on the pecking order for status proc. So Infected Clip or Stormbringer. And for this test, we're going to be using Vauban Prime simply because I don't want blast procs knocking the targets all over the place. And we're going to put them up into the air and switch to Barrage mode. Now, a build such as this should take roughly 5 to 6 shots to kill a target. The first couple of shots won't do that much, but number 3, 4, and 5 will do a lot more because, once again, the first couple of shots are for armor stripping. 1, 2, not much. 3, 4, and 5. This is another worthwhile build if you want to go for something like this. I don't really like a weapon that needs to reload in order to kill a target, and it still doesn't perform as well as a crit Hunter Munitions with Arcane Avenger build, but this is still a decent option. Next, we're gonna switch into a Reven setup. Now, my Reven has cold and critical chance, which is great. I have Hunter Munitions here as well, and I'm gonna be using Malignant Force in order to get my Viral. This is a slash build. Once again, I'm using the 60/60 mods for more consistent Viral apps. But as you will see, even with this, it's still not very consistent when it comes to the Viral application. So once again, Reven setup. Here we go. Hit me harder, please. There we go. Arcane Avenger. I got Viral on the target, I got slashes, and that is absolutely beautiful from just a couple of shots. 3 shots on the target this time, no Viral app. 4, 5, 6, it's already gonna die from the slashes, still no Viral app. This is a very good showcase of how status chance works on pellet-based weapons. There we go, 3 for you. A build such as this will shine when you get the Viral proc. If you don't get the Viral proc, however, it's simply good enough. But in this case, I would just forget about the elemental combo, and once again, Argon Scope with bladed rounds if you have it. But you get instances such as this one when you do get the Viral app, and it's a whole lot better. There's one more thing I want to do before we go, and that is pick up Mirage Prime and amplify everything with Warframe buffs to see precisely how much we can get out of the Zarr. Lady Mirage, if you will, let's see what kind of buffs she's got. First of all, Rifle Amp will give its damage to the Zarr, 27% stackable. Everybody in the party will be receiving this benefit. When it comes to Arcane, first of all, I'm going to be recommending Arcane Avenger for the reasons mentioned earlier. Additive after bonus, 30% critical chance on damaged. As for the second Arcane, it's going to be Arcane Rage. On headshot, a 100% chance for plus 120% damage rifles for 16 seconds. And that's pretty much it. Very well, one last test. We're gonna respawn these guys, activate Mirage's third ability for a massive damage increase as well as the clones, because why the hell not? Switch to Barrage and start hitting these guys. Look at that. That was 2 shots. 1 shot on the target, and it's simply going to bleed out. I even got a Viral app on this one. 1 shot. Easy. Easy, easy, awesome freaking weapon. MR7, guys. MR7, easy to get. Well, it's not the most easiest build in the world, but it's a monster. And if you want to have fun, this is the way to go. Let's try a couple of cannonballs at this guy. Just see how it does. I'm already firing 3 shots on the target, and it might actually bleed out. Yes, please. There we go. Again, I would use the cannonball mode more for crowd controlling purposes and, of course, AoE capabilities. But let's talk about the disadvantages of the Zarr for a second, because obviously it can be a beast weapon, but the primary fire mode has travel time, kinda slow, also that ugly drop off that leans to the left side just a little bit. Other than that, keep in mind that the bomblet behavior is not entirely reliable. More often than not, they simply run away from the target. Also, you can blow up yourself with the Zarr like so. And you also have to contend with the fact that the cannonballs deal primarily blast damage mixed in together with impact, which again is not ideal. As for the second fire mode, the Barrage, well, this is where the damage is at, but you have a horrendous spread on this one. Your status chance will be getting divided amongst your many pellets, and you also have 10 meters worth of range. Fortunately, at least you do get that punch through, and this will conclude the build guide on the Zarr. Hopefully now you know everything you need to about the weapon and how to build it. As always, my name is Zarr. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. If you have any feedback for me or would like to request a specific weapon review, then by all means leave it in the comment section down below. I can't promise you that it will be done by next time, but I will be reading through each and every comment. But until next time guys, bye bye!